Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
2 Harper Woods police officers fired tonight in connection with the death of a woman who died while in police custody. Priscilla Slater was found unresponsive inside a Harper Woods holding cell back on June 10th. Her death led to protests outside City Hall, with her family demanding to know how she died.
As many questions still remain unanswered into Slater's death, tonight the city announcing it has discovered 2 officers, including its deputy chief, attempted to conceal and manipulate evidence in the investigation into her death. Let's get to Jason Colthorpe live in Harper Woods with more on what we know about what these officers exactly did. Jason.
Well, Devin, the city is saying they interfered with that police report, and to be clear, the city is not saying the officers were involved in her death or that her arrest was unjust, but it is saying that doctoring a police report will not be accepted, and tonight a deputy chief and an officer are out of a job. Shortly after the state police began investigating the death of Priscilla Slater in the Harper Woods jail, information came to the attention of the Harper Woods police chief.
That a deputy chief of police had asked one of the officers to remove information within his report that may have been relevant to an investigation into the death of Ms. Slater. I can't say right now exactly what that information was, only that it may have been relevant to someone.
John Gillooly, an attorney retained by Harper Woods, says the city investigated and found the report was doctored, and today fired Deputy Chief John Vorgich and Officer Michael Pino.
It's a sad day for the Slater family. It's a sad day for the City of Harper Woods Police Department. First of all, anytime you have to terminate somebody, it's not good. But we believe that these terminations were appropriate under the circumstances, that we had absolutely no choice, and that we expect more out of our officers.
The state police investigation will continue, but Gillooly does not think any wrongdoing will be found in Slater's arrest or her death.
We shouldn't jump to any other conclusions other than those we jumped to tonight about the officers in trying to interfere with the contents of a police report.
And I did talk to Priscilla Slater's sister Latasha tonight. She was advised by the family attorney not to do a formal interview. But she did tell me she's happy to see these 2 men out of a job, but she thinks that is not nearly enough. She wants these men in jail because she does not believe her sister's death was accidental. We're in Harper Woods tonight. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
All right, Jason.
Detroit's teachers overwhelmingly say they do not want to return to in-person teaching, giving their union the green light to call a strike if necessary. Right now, negotiations between the Detroit Federation of Teachers and the district will continue, and no strike is planned. Mar McDonald is live downtown tonight. Mar, tonight's action means in-person learning for Detroit families who want it is likely a no-go, with schools set to start September 8th.
Kimberly, that's right. And really, it is unclear exactly what school is going to look like for DPSCD students and parents right now until all these negotiations get worked out.
But today, the voices of over 4,000 members were heard today, and the concerns were shared.
And the overwhelming majority of Detroit's teachers do not want to go for in-classroom instruction. According to the DFT, 80% of its members want to teach virtually once school starts.
We have concerns about our school buildings and the readiness of our physical plant.
The problem in a district of this size is remote learning is not feasible for all. Detroit's superintendent pushed for summer school classes for students, which happened. The mix going into the fall looked to be 75% wanted remote instruction, while 25% wanted in person. As of tonight, it would not appear there will be enough teachers willing to accommodate that amount of in-person instruction. The district sending out this statement. While we acknowledge the action taken today by DFT, we are also confident the school board and the district, in discussion with DFT, will result in a safe reopening of schools.
Our plans are to continue to negotiate the terms and conditions of reopening with the school district in the days to come.
Back here live, to be clear, voting to authorize a strike or a strike vote is not the same as calling a strike. Essentially what the union has asked its membership is, if negotiations break down and we deem it prudent, would you support us authorizing and making a strike happen? That's what this is. So that is not happening. What it is a tool in negotiations. And as you heard from Mr. Martin, negotiations continue. DPSCD's superintendent says they are negotiating in good faith. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Yeah. Okay, Mara, thanks.
Tonight, we've learned a settlement is imminent in a class action lawsuit over the Flint water crisis. Details about the settlement are expected to come out this week, but sources are telling Local 4 it's in the ballpark of about $600 million. The settlement would pay claims seeking damages for lead poisoning that followed after the city switched its water supply from Detroit to the Flint River. We will learn more in the next day or two.
As college students return to campus, the Washtenaw County Health Department is cutting the number of people allowed at outdoor gatherings.
Yeah, effective tomorrow at 5 p.m., there can be no more than 25 people at outdoor social gatherings. That'll be for the city of Ann Arbor and the city of Ypsilanti. Those cities, of course, college towns, University of Michigan and Eastern Michigan University. That is down quite a bit from the 100 people that were previously allowed. State, by the way, today reporting 616 new cases of COVID-19 and 9 more deaths. Other headlines, organizers of the Michigan Renaissance Festival announced that event is canceled for 2020, one more casualty of the pandemic. And Governor Whitmer announcing during her briefing today that she is allocating $65 million in funding from the CARES Act to help schools and other educational organizations impacted by COVID-19.
This funding will go to Michigan school districts and other education-related entities, whether it's helping them access PPE or cleaning supplies or helping students mitigate the impacts of learning loss in districts that need it most. It can be used to enhance the remote and in-person student mental health services or to mitigate the impacts of learning loss.
Districts are going to receive the funds based on their number of financially disadvantaged students to help address the digital divide.
One day after announcing all undergraduate classes would be online this fall, today Michigan State University President Dr. Samuel Stanley called on landlords to work with students stuck in off-campus leases.
We really feel sorry for that. My hope is that landlords in the area will be receptive to students who are caught, particularly those who may be in financial need and make a difference. It's something we're talking to them about, because we really are concerned about students who may have been caught by this.
Not everyone is going with virtual classes. Today, the president of Western Michigan University emailed students saying the university will open for in-person classes as planned. The WMU fall semester begins September 2nd.
Night 3 of the Democratic National Convention not only featured a historic speech from Senator Kamala Harris, which you perhaps just watched, but also included former President Barack Obama slamming President Trump and his presidency. Alice Barr is in Wilmington, Delaware with tonight's highlights. Alice.
Hey everybody, it's me.
Senator Kamala Harris stepping into the spotlight and into the history books as Joe Biden's running mate.
The litmus test for America is how we are treating black women.
For the first time, a woman of color formally accepting the vice presidential nomination for a major party. The daughter of immigrants from Jamaica and India, mapping a vision for a more inclusive nation.
It's about all of us knowing our power in each of us to lift people up, right?
The one-time prosecutor also sharply accusing President Trump of failing to lead, costing lives and livelihoods. Former President Barack Obama slamming his successor.
He has shown no interest in putting in the work, no interest in finding common ground, no interest in using the awesome power of his office to help anyone but himself and his friends.
Hillary Clinton with an urgent call to get out the vote, warning against a repeat of her 2016 defeat.
This can't be another woulda, coulda, shoulda election.
The party hoping to learn from its past while striding forward into history.
Alice Barr, Local 4.
And I hope you join us back here tomorrow for the fourth and final night of the convention here on Local 4 and on clickondetroit.com. Tomorrow, by the way, will include a performance by John Legend and Common, and of course, Joe Biden accepting the Democratic nomination. Coverage begins tomorrow night at 10 p.m.
Still ahead, one of the most anticipated debuts in Detroit sports in years.
Top pitching prospect Casey Mize finally gets a start for the Tigers. Was it enough to stop the losing streak? Bernie has highlights from Chicago just ahead. Ben.
Devin and Kim, the heat is almost back on again. We'll look at the increase in temperatures and a new tropical development, a new number to look at. More on that coming up.
We've brought the night camp to Commerce Township tonight to the Glenlaw Trails. It's the walk in the park like no other. We'll bring you along next.